There are hedge fund managers making $1 million an hour. You know, it's crazy, right? It's money everywhere. It's money in everything. I want to help you. Start your business today. Come join my royal family. Subscribe to Casino is the name. Hey, yo, what's going on right now? You're watching Casino is the name, and this video is about clearing up some confusion about accounting salaries or accountant salaries. And I just wanted to start this out by discussing the conversation that I had with my son. So today, my son called me, and he was wondering about the guy who I said makes over $1 million an hour. And was he an accountant? And I was like, well, he's in the accounting space. He's a hedge fund manager. His name is David Tepper. And so he was like, well, tell me a little bit more about it. And I was like, well, he made like $3.5 billion in 1 year. And if you break that down to 40 hours a week for a typical work week, which would be like 2,080 hours a year, then that breaks down to about $1.6 million an hour. As a matter of fact, the intro on this channel is heavily predicated on talking about hedge fund managers who make $1 million an hour. So he was asking about that because he said that his girlfriend had mentioned to him that that accounting salaries are averaging around $75,000, and that not sure if that was what he was talking about going into, because my son wants to get some money. He wants to make a lot of money, and he was like, well, that sounds very different from they only make 100,000, and so and then he says, well, I don't know about accountant salaries, but I want to be an auditor, because he knows that I'm an auditor, right? And so he said that I guess the numbers that she pulled up were even worse than that, right? So me and him had this whole conversation about like, hey, if you're looking at Glassdoor or something like that, please refrain from that, okay? And I pulled real numbers from real people's salaries. The average accountant salary, I would say, that I know is well over 100,000. I'm not saying it's like 200,000. It's not average. 200,000 is not like the average salary, but it's definitely over six figures. And I don't actually know any personally that that I've ever worked with that the accountants made less than $100,000. The 100,000 is almost like the base. Now there are like entry level positions, right? So let's say your entry level position is maybe 60,000, 55,000. That may be your entry level position. That may be your first year position. Some of them are 75,000, but within 3 to 4 years, you're making 90 to 100,000. 5 years into your career, 6 years into your career, more than likely you're making $100,000. So I was saying, if you were 16 right now and you go to college at 18 and you do 4 years, you come out at 22, and so you get your first job at 23, more than likely, especially, it's hard to really say because, he's so young, right? But let's say a kid coming out of college right now, he lands his entry-level position. Many entry-level positions, people that that I have coached on this channel, that I was talking about accounting, before, while they were still in high school. And, they followed me and my guidance on this channel, and they got their first jobs. They did internships, and they got their first jobs at their accounting firms. Many of them made more money than I did, and probably still make more money than I do currently, only a couple years after, getting a hard offer and things like that. Now, so when I'm telling him like, hey, I don't know any accountants who don't make 100,000 or more. I don't know any, right? I do know accountants who are making 200,000. I know accountants making 300,000. I know accountants making $1 million a year. I know accountants making 1.5. That's not normal. Okay, I'm not saying making 200, 300, 400,000. I'm not saying that's normal, but I just don't know any who are making less than 100,000 a year? I don't know any. I'm not saying that people ain't gonna get in the comment section and say, well, I don't, right? Now, for those of you who are in positions where maybe, let's say, you're in a position that if you stay in that position long enough, it'll take you to 120. I consider you in a position that pays six figures. Maybe you're not making it right now because you still gotta have so many years of experience before they step you up. I think I got like, from when I started to, I probably got 40,000 in raises over 4 years. I was averaging a little more than $10,000 per year in like increases or so. It was like you're going from 40,000 to 50,000 to 50,000 to 62, then from 62 to like 75, and from like 75 to like 89, and so on and so forth. So after a couple of years, you'll get to whatever number, but the position that you may be in may be a position that goes up to 120. Maybe a position that goes up to 111. You just have to stay in the position long enough for that to get there. But you get these bonuses, or not want to say bonuses, but you get these promotions that are built into your job, right? It's like if you went to go start at a Big Four, there was a chart that I had when I was in college, and it was like Big Four starting salary, 15-year, and it was like 50,000 was year one. And you're at the bottom. You're like some low-level associate, right? Entry-level associate. And then it keeps increasing. And by the time you get to your 15-year mark, you become like a senior partner or partner or whatever, senior partner, I think senior partner. And it was like 450,000 to 3 million. Because at that point you're sharing in the profits, right? But in 15 years, you go from 50,000 to 450,000. And this was their kind of like standardized like process. Now, I know a lot of people may not have made it to that point or didn't make it to the 15 years. A lot of people do a couple years at the Big Four, 3-4 years, and then they go to a smaller regional firm or a more local firm or something like that. But they go get that Big Four experience on their background. I don't have Big Four experience, but that's what was motivating me through college, was that. Right? So what I did was I pulled a bunch of salaries and I showed my son page after page of people making $200,000 that he's never heard of. They're all auditors. And I didn't even go into like just the role of accountant, because these are just titles. We're all accountants, right? But you can be an auditor. You can be in a role position that's called an accountant. You can be in a role that's like a budget analyst. You can be in a role that's a CFO. You can be in a role that's a financial analyst. You can be in a role that's like, it just keeps going on and on. But it's all this, it's all the same accounting, infrastructure, background or whatever. So I'm showing my son all these auditors. Each page probably had, I think each page had like 10 people on it, and I think I sent him at least 7 or 8 pages of people who were in just auditor roles that paid over 240,000. They were all in, I think it was maybe like 280 and down to like 240 but I'm sending page after page, maybe like 7, 8 pages of nothing, but I didn't even get close to 230,000 or 225,000. I didn't even get down that low. It's pages and pages of people. And so just to show that, hey, it's real and it's not what people report on Glassdoor. That's a different thing. I don't know what that is. So I just wanted to do this video so that you can know that that there's tons of positions out there. Most of the roles that I apply for now are in the $180,000 to $200,000 range. Like if I apply, I have some things that I've been applying for on the outside, and outside of my current career that some of those roles are just attractive roles to me. Director position, director of audit or VP of audit or something like that. But a lot of these positions are in the $200,000 to $300,000 range. But yeah, so I don't know any accountants making in positions that only pay $75,000. I don't personally know. I'm not saying that they don't exist. I just don't even know any. So for me, and the averages that I pull, when I used to see the reported averages of auditors for say, so there used to be a website that used to report auditors for certain organizations, and they were averaging one something, like 128, 130, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. Accountant salaries, auditor salaries. It wasn't, I don't want to say it wasn't even too far off like lawyer salaries, you know. So you know, I think the lawyer salaries might have been like around 140 something, 150 something on average, and the auditor salaries weren't far off. The accountant salaries were just maybe $2,000 higher than the auditor salaries or whatever. But it's plenty of opportunity, and I can show you job after job. It is rare for me to find an accountant job that doesn't move into the six-figure range. Just don't make sense. I mean, I just don't see it. I just don't know where people are reporting this information from. I just don't know it. And the private sector pays higher than, say, like the government sector. So I don't know. I don't typically see I don't know who's reporting to the Glassdoor thing. But when an agency reports the salaries that they're paying to the employees, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about where the agency is reporting the salaries of the employees. That is where I pull my information from, not from somebody who in their first year going on there and saying, I'm only making this. And it's a ton of those new people and no experienced people going on there and reporting their salaries. I've never reported my salary ever to Glassdoor or any kind of website like that. I don't know where they're getting these numbers from. But in the real world, I don't know any accountants who don't make $100,000 or more. I don't know none. I just don't know none at all. Maybe the entry level people, but I don't actually know any brand new first year accounting people, right? So I don't know those people, but more than likely they may be in a position that starts at 50,000. And so my first accounting position, because I was an accounting technician before, but I wasn't an accountant. I hadn't finished my degree yet. So when I finished my degree and I moved into an auditor position, that position started at 40,000. I mean, I made a little more than that, but it started at 40,000. I think I was getting paid 42,000 my first year, but that position went from 42,000 to like 116. So you know, all you have to do is just stay in that position. That's what I'm saying. I was getting $10,000 raises like every year, and you know, so that's all I really wanted to say about that. But yeah, so just. Don't listen to the foolishness. You know what I'm saying? Get your accounting degree. Anyway, right now you're watching Casino Is the Name. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and we out. There are hedge fund managers making $1 million an hour. You know, it's crazy, right? It's money everywhere. It's money in everything. I want to help you. Start your business today. Come join my royal family. Subscribe to Casino Is the Name.